I thought I was going to be late, to be honest. I was still working on cars, and I was like, oh, we got to do this thing.
You can see my G in my mic, right?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. That's the most
Big
important
Logitech
part.
guy over there. Huh?
The most important part. Oh, is that why? It just worked out, huh? All right. Yeah, people love to leak stuff. Like Formula Drift says, "Hey guys, would you mind if we just send it to you guys?" And they're like, "Yeah, fucking screw you. It's out in 20 seconds." It's crazy to me. Nothing's holy in this world, guys. That guy loves to leak, huh? Yeah.
Are you?
No, I heard you.
On stream?
Or you
Let
mean
me
on you?
see.
Oh, man.
Yep, you definitely are. Yep.
Nate's
Damn.
been sitting here rambling, dude. Nobody can hear a word that
You're
he's
just
saying.
yapping away. No one can hear
Super professional.
Media guy, by the way. Now I can't hear you. Now I can hear you.
All right.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. No.
I don't know, man. Hearing myself once as I say it is enough for me personally.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Can people hear me now? Because I feel like I changed it. It should be there. Do I need to unplug and plug it back in? All right. Whoa, that's cool. Yeah. All right. I think we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
I heard you on the stream. I went.
See, this is I don't know
quick.
what it is. Sometimes I have to unplug the mic and then plug it back in, and then we're good to go. All right.
That's how you
Sorry
fix
about that,
things in the
guys.
IT
Beauty
world.
of it.
Dude, it's the classic, just plug it back in. It's fine. How many people do you tell that for your PC issues there, Brandon? Just restart it.
All the time, man. Sometimes it's that simple. You just gotta
Dude,
unplug it, plug it
you
back
got to remember
in.
the Nintendo days. You take the game out, you blow on it, you shove it back in. That's the same. Nothing's
Same
changed,
thing.
boys.
Sometimes you have to do the extra move, right? And like you wrap it underneath your shirt and then blow through
Oh yeah,
it.
that's the pro
And
move.
if you're
That's
having
the pro
a really
move.
bad day.
Yeah,
That's the pro move right there.
There you go. All right. Well, back to the intro for the actual show. Again, thank you guys for coming out to this one. We got a lot to go over. As I was saying earlier, episode 77 for Mr. Lucky 777 over here. Thank you, Matt, for coming on. As you can see, you got a pretty nice room there. When did you finish that up?
So we moved into our new shop location in February 2025. So we've been here pretty much a year.
Yep.
Obviously, the first things first is getting up lifts and getting tools in order and getting welders plugged in so the boys can start working. And then as soon as we got that most of the way where the shop could kind of be operational, I started shifting focus on my office. So all of I have a business partner, right?
Yeah.
Who's also my spotter, Daniel Chow. I've always shared an office with him. And realistically, it was his office, and then I shared an office because he was the one bringing in customers and sitting them down and charging them and writing invoices and all of that. So I kind of just been working. I'm sure even I did your podcast where I was just doing it out in my shop in front of my cars, which was great. I loved it. But because we have a little bit more room, I decided, hey, I'm going to build myself a container office. So this is a 20-foot storage container that me and my dad turned into an office. 16-foot sliding glass windows right over here to my left. And then all of my cars and everything, lifts, tools, equipment are right out those windows. So I get to sit in my office and watch my boys get down and work. And then because it's my own office, I'm able to decorate it with my own stuff. I got my Heat Wave, that's racing sign there. I got my helmets up here. So it's definitely been a proud piece for me to build my own office. And then Chow was so pumped on it that we built him his own storage container office right across the shop. So he's got a storage container office. I got a storage container office. And probably the coolest thing is my first C6 Corvette race chassis is sitting on top of me right here, just so in storage.
Pretty
so
sick.
it's the new shop has been such an awesome achievement. And every time that I show up here, I'm in complete disbelief because I started working in a 900 square foot shop shared between 3 dirt bags. So it's a big difference.
100%. May I ask how much is like a container to build out of a shop for you? Like, because obviously you're over there, but
so it's pretty funny. How containers work is you can buy total piles of crap. That's the stuff that you usually see like outside at somebody's ranch.
Okay.
That has tractor parts and tires and stuff in it. For a 20-foot, those are like 11 to 1,500, something like that. Then you can get some pretty nice ones. They're definitely banged up and a little bit scraped up. They're like $1,800. Or you could do what I did is buy a one tripper. So what that means is it's made in China, stuffed full of shit, put on a boat, delivered to America, and then unloaded, and then we buy it. So I'm fortunate that one of my buddies, his name's Holton, he does containers. So I was like, I want this dark gray one because I didn't want to paint the outside of it. I want a one tripper. I want dark floors, and I want good hinges on the thing. And he found me like the cherry container to start with, which makes life a lot easier versus starting with a piece of crap.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah. I've always curious.
And those are like $2,500 for for 25 to $3,000. So really not too bad.
That's not bad at all. And they're indestructible, so I mean,
super good. They are a little bit loud and have a lot of like resonance in there. So I reached out to the owner of Rugged Radios because when I visited Rugged Radios, I walked into like the offices in the shop, and it's like you could feel the sound get sucked out of the room because he's all about like clarity and communication. Like he's like, you can't be in my shop and have it be echoing and you can't hear, and the sales guys are hearing each other talk. So I reached out to him, and he sent me a link to a bunch of like noise canceling panels. So there's noise canceling panels on that wall and some stuff on the roof. And it's super good. The audio in here is great. It's quiet. The boys are outside grinding right over there, and I don't hear them. It's nice.
That's pretty cool. You thought of everything, seems like. Cool.
We've been doing it long enough, bro. I think this is like year 15 of Formula Drift for me, and I've had a shop for like 20 years. So I hope so.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, luckily, we got some good FD news, and I'm really stoked on it. But first, obviously, we do have to kind of hit the one other elephant in the room of the drifting space, and that's the unfortunate ending of CoreWorks. I mean, I just wanted to give those guys a shout out, and whatever their next road steps are, Greg and Sebastian, all those guys, dude, absolute legends in our industry. And man, it was a bummer hearing that. Listening to that interview Greg did. Him kind of breaking down at the end there. It was a tough one to watch, just being a good friend of his. And I hope those guys land on their feet. I'm sure they will. Honestly, they're all talented people there. So I think it'll be.
It is weird though, thinking what's next outside of running a shop and drifting. I couldn't even imagine. So I feel for
it'd be a strange one, right? Like you do the same thing long enough, and then like now you're just kind of stepping into a new world. And like it's probably refreshing to some degree, but it's got to be terrifying at the same time. Like, I wouldn't know what to do. Like, what do you mean I'm not gonna work on cars every day anymore? Like, what do I do?
Right. Yeah. No. But shout out to those guys. Hell of a shop. I'm sure. Hopefully, some more shops will take their place, and we'll get some good stuff out of Atlanta still.
Yeah.
But moving on to the other big fish to fry here, and I'm actually gonna quick bring it up and show you guys as well, just so we can all check it out, because I don't believe this was supposed to be an official announcement by FD, as it
no, they definitely meant for it to get posted in that exact form.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
I don't know. You guys don't actually need to read it, because I will read the highlights for people that have been living under a rock the last couple of days on social media. This was posted pretty much everywhere, so I don't feel bad talking about it now. But yeah, so basically FD came out and said we are going to be changing qualifying next year, mainly just for pro drivers. I will read some of the important bits in here. So with after 2 extensive surveys and long hours of discussion about the current all-tandem format and the likes and dislikes of this program, along with weighing in the fans' opinions as they are available to us, we have decided to make a change that directly corresponds to the surveys that were captured in both of our sessions at St. Louis and the FD Town Hall in Seattle. That is a run-on sentence. Holy shit. That is all one sentence, by the way. But with that said, I do remember that meeting. That was an interesting one where all of the pro guys were like, yeah, we would like to do qualifying. And, I mean, there's tons of reasons for that, and we're probably going to get into it. And by the end of the season, it became pretty apparent why. I was curious to hear about the prospect one because I didn't necessarily hear about that poll or when they did that one. But long story short, with the combination of the questions meant to pull out the notion that seeding is preferred, is the preferred method of competition. Pro drivers voted the majority that seeding was not preferential. It was pretty much 100%. And with the combinations, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, prospect voted to keep seeding. So I'm curious to kind of hear from a prospect guy how that all kind of came down. Because I've heard some people that I don't know. We'll get into that. So therefore, given the will of each series, we will change the format qualifying for pro, and we will leave seeding for pro spec. Now, I actually kind of still agree with, even if they didn't necessarily poll pro spec, or I don't know if they did or not, but I've heard people questioning that, at least some of the pro spec guys. But I kind of agree with it. But like I said, we'll get into it. And there was a paragraph down here I wanted to basically hit. So, the long story short, and the reason that they weren't going to do regular 2-run qualifying is because they didn't want to lower the car count, and they thought they would have to. Now, hopefully they found a solution, and we'll see what that is here in a second. So, this is from Sage. To keep the car counts where they are now, and to bring back 2-run qualifying for pro in 2026 meant a radical change. That change, I'm happy to announce, is a semi-automate qualifying with telemetry-based real-time scoring system. So, in 2026, qualifying in the Pro Series will officially be judged in large part by machines. This will allow us to run our normal broadcast productions, yada yada, save you time, all that kind of stuff. Basically, back to 2-run qualifying. So, go back to our regular screen here. Matt.
Robot judge.
Initial overall thoughts. There's so many elements to get into here.
Cool. I think the whole thing is they think that it's going to save time. If it actually saves time, I'm all for it. Besides the part of saving time, I truly believe that it is more effective than having the judges individually judge their criteria. I think we're able to come down to, instead of like 2 runs that look identical, but they're 3 points apart, and we're like, what the hell, as fans or as other teams or whatever, what the hell, 3 points? Now, if the same runs look similar, we might have it be like a quarter of a point apart, half of a point or something like that. Whatever that they decide to do at how finite they want to get, I think it's great. I dealt with digital judging, the DOS system with D1, 4 or 5 years of doing D1 in China. And then I did the FIA Cup the first or second year, and that was digital judging as well. I like that you can have the unit running pros, right? Let's talk pros. You can have the unit on, you do your practice run, you get to immediately see your qualifying score after a practice run. Very cool. Again, I don't know if this is exactly how Formula Drift intends it, but it's my understanding that, yes, they want this thing running at every run because the bigger the database, the better the results are going to be. So they want as many runs on this digital box as humanly possible. So we're going to be able to see what our competitors are doing. And if we are good teams and good spotters, we can be like, why did that guy get a 9.9 out of 10 in this sector. And why did I get an 8? And you'd be like, oh, well, he ran a little bit wider. Maybe he touched the brakes a little bit less. He used more or less handbrake, snap your angle, whatever it might be. You can literally dissect and plan and execute a damn near perfect run because you're able to quantifiably see this was the best in this sector. This was the best in this sector. This was the best in this sector. I absolutely loved it. And me and Chow, my spotter, I think we got, because D1 does like qualifying championship and then the regular driving championship. I won the qualifying championship like 2 years in a row because we completely figured out how to play the system. Okay, enter fast. Entering this fast gives you this much points. If we're not entering fast enough, guess what, Matt? You got to enter later so you go faster. You just you find these little things that you're able to pick up on, and it's quick. What I loved about it is they do section practice. So group A, group B, group C. Group A goes out for 20 minutes, group B. So after your practice session, you would just look at your paper, and then before your next session, you'd come up with a game plan. You watch what other people are doing. You see their telemetry and their numbers be spit out live while you're watching them. You game plan, you go out, you execute. I loved it. It made qualifying extraordinarily quick. And one thing that I think that none of us are even thinking about is, now how is this going to be used in battle? It's great. It's easy to say like, okay, Drift Masters does this, D1 does this. It's been a thing, but how is it used in battle? Totally there's big differences across those series.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot you hit on right there. And as you said, you actually have experience with something kind of like this. I'm curious to see if the technology's improved a whole lot since then. That is the interesting part, because I would assume this is probably going to be a Wally style system, if not the Wally system itself. They seem to be a pretty
I'd
solid...
bet pretty high on the Wally system, personally.
Yeah.
Dude, and I went to Drift Masters, and I did the Poland, and I absolutely loved the system. It worked great. And back then, I wasn't sure, is it fully digital judge? How much of the judges? They probably tell you that at the beginning of the year's drivers meeting, but by the end of the year, everyone knows, so they weren't going over every single thing. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you. I'm sure one of the European drivers would have some more insight.
Human judged for the most part. They would just use that as a judging tool to see how. And a lot of it was.
Did they do that for qualifying too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So human judge is just a judging tool in qualifying and battles.
Yes, because they were testing the system. They weren't going to go full jumping in on it yet.
Of course.
What I believe Jacob told me. So that was kind of their way to kind of jump in feet first, or at least test the waters. Sorry. You, on the other hand, Kurtis, ended up dealing with it last year in clutch kickers. How did that go?
It was good. I mean, so round 4 and 5, we made the decision to use the Wally telemetry system as the only judge in qualifying. Like, that's all it did. There was, you still had like your 3-panel human judge watching, because the system couldn't determine, I think it couldn't determine a full-blown 0 score.
Yeah. And
then every once in a while it would like glitch or not pick something up, and you would have to kind of like go in and adjust the scoring on a certain run. But it did, like, it worked flawless for the entire field minus one car that we had to adjust, and then it sped up qualifying exponentially. Like, I think we qualified the entire field 2 cars in like an hour.
Wow.
And it was instant results. So like if you were later in the qualifying order, you could see like who was where, what they were doing, how they got their score, and stuff like that. So you could plan out how you were going to do it. Just like what Matt was saying. Even throughout practice, I think round 5 we didn't use it as much, but we did use it at 4 a good bit. And so like you could go home the night before comp and watch your practice runs and see what you were doing wrong, what other drivers were doing better, and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's a really cool, really, really, really good tool.
Interesting. And
great for running qualifying. I don't know about it being a judge in competition.
Right. How did your guys use it in competition, or after qualifying, you put the box away and just watched?
We used it in competition, but it only in the hardest calls, right? Like let's be real, most competitions in drifting, in my opinion, the earlier runs, you can kind of just watch and be like, okay, yeah, that guy got it, right? When you get deeper into competition, you get closer to your finals and all that kind of stuff. When you get down into like the real nitpicky, the judges couldn't make a collected decision, they would revert back to the Wally data to really pick the run apart.
So in D1, it was really cool. You couldn't get a one more time unless both lead runs were like over a 90 kind of thing, right? Something like that. So if you did a lead run and your lead run was only an 80 and he did a lead run and his lead run was a 90, but you both had shit chases or mistakes or whatever, they would be forced to pick a winner because one lead run wasn't up to par. So it didn't give the chase driver the right opportunity, right? Very similar thing to how we say it, that how we're going to judge. But from my experience, even though you say, hey, we're not going to give one more times this, there's still been calls where you're like, oh, I don't know. I guess we just one more time, even though they're two crappy runs.
Right.
But on the digital judge, it'll be like, no, that guy got a 90, that guy got an 80. He gets the win because he has a better lead run. Boom, done.
I really like that rule. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it, right? Like,
yeah. And the other thing too, I'm curious, Brandon, from a spotter standpoint, I assume you guys are going to have access to this data, which I'm sure is going to be super helpful from your end.
Yeah, I mean, if it's as Matt's saying, like it's every single run is scored, like that'd be super helpful, especially going back to like judges and being like, hey, why did XYZ score this and we did this, and then they explain it. I think that's going to be just another tool to help the drivers unlock another level of, I guess, perfection, if you will.
Right.
Because and it needs to be on in practice, and the judges need to be actively watching a run, seeing what the digital judge has to say about it, and then adjusting it through practice. Because there's times where there are glitches, or there are times where maybe somebody will do something extremely risky, super badass, but they're not necessarily rewarded on it on the digital side, but you want them to be rewarded on it. So in D1, the guy was always playing with numbers and entry speeds and the rate to angle and all of these things, because you really have to set a benchmark. Not every track has the same rate to angle on every transition, on every entry, on everything. So you really have to adjust it and make sure that it's giving points accordingly. So I think that the judges are going to have a lot of work in it. It's just the type of work that they're doing where they used to be in spotters help and say like, oh, he did a good transition there. It's not going to be that. Now, hopefully they're going to be focused on the digital judge and honing that thing in.
Okay, so what does the actual machine give points based on? There's angle, speed, rate to angle. So like, give me the categories, I guess.
All right. So I don't know what Formula Drift is planning on using.
Right.
I have spoken to Kevin Wells before that document came out and kind of gave him my opinion on stuff and whatever, but he didn't confirm exactly what it was going to be. I think that they're still signing the documents to be able to tell us what it is. So I don't know what Formula Drift is planning on using, but if we want to talk
based
my
off
experience with D1
and stuff,
yeah.
And Kurtis, you can answer this too if you have some input on
that side. You'd probably be more precise.
I want to hear about D1.
Right,
D1 cool.
D1 it's crazy. It's psychotic, right? There's also like one judge. There's one guy sitting in the middle of the track making everyone's decisions for everyone, dialing in this box, doesn't speak to anyone, doesn't talk at the drivers' meetings. He's just the guy, right? It's crazy. It's so insane that you have to just enjoy it. It's completely opposite of how we run our events, that you have to just appreciate the culture and appreciate it for what it is. And again, I'm talking about when I ran D1. It has been like 5 or 6 years. Stuff may have changed, but basically it would have criteria. The big thing in D1 is rate to angle, right? Snappy transitions. That's why forever and ever D1 never even had line. The tracks were relatively narrow. Even the larger courses, like when they would go to a road course, they would try to use some relatively narrow courses so that you couldn't be on the wrong side of the track. You would just you're either in the middle or you're on the right side, on the correct line, right? So rate to angle and snappiness was extremely important. The speed was extremely important. They would give you 2 corners, right? And in this corner, the criteria was stability. So you're holding your angle, your rate to angle into that zone, and the amount of angle that you carried into that zone. Then let's say there's like corner, straightaway. Then the straightaway would be another sector. And in that straightaway, it was all about speed and snap. So you'd kind of come out of, so you'd have to kind of play the game. You're like, all right, I'm going to reduce some angle coming out of turn 1, which is going to give me a higher speed score in sector 2, right? Yep. And then that's going to also allow me to have a super big snap in the zone that it's supposed to be in, because that's the thing. If you're not transitioning in this zone and you're transitioning in this zone, you lose all the points for transitioning. So that's great. That's what kind of helps us determine what line they want. And then it would be about, all right, sector 3, all about rate to, or the actual angle and the stability that you have in there, and your like average speed. So average speed was big too. So if you came flying into a sector but then slammed on the brakes at the corner, your average speed would drop, or it would have a dip in there, and then you would get points reduction for your average speed. So, and then one big thing that like I worked on was the actual entry speed. They would have a minimum entry speed, and if you don't make that entry speed, you're getting 0 points out of 10. So in D1, if you lose 10 points, you're not even qualifying, basically. Like if you're in the 80s or the low 90s, you're probably not even going to qualify. So entry speed was one. You had to hit a minimum entry speed, and then you would be able to get like bonus points if you were over the minimum entry speed. So if you're over the minimum entry speed by 5K, you get 1 extra point, 2 extra point, right? So that can kind of help offset. Maybe you're doing something like being real ballsy on the run up. You're rewarded for that, but maybe because of that, you have a little bit of less of angle here or less there. So you kind of have to play the cards. If I'm getting the point and I'm losing the point, or I'm losing 2 points, or I'm getting 2 points and only losing 1, I'll take the 2 and lose the 1. It's completely like you're playing chess and a little bit of you're playing dice at the same time. It's so outrageous. And then the biggest thing was you get huge points on snappy entries. And I'll say, I think driving D1 made me a much more aggressive and snappier driver on transitions and entries, because I came from the Formula Drift era where that was all about fluidity. Everything was fluid and smooth. You toss your car, you hold the angle, the front wheels don't waver. Like that's what was most important. And then I hop into D1 and it's like guys are hucking backies and have front steering correction, but they're on the throttle in the middle of the track.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kurtis, I assume the judging on your end is a bit different now, because I'm sure speed isn't necessarily a judge factor. Like how fast you're going.
We did speed.
What? Sorry?
We registered speed. We judged everything. So for our qualifying, we used line, angle, and average speed through the entire run. Was how you.
I love that.
The D1 stuff sounds way crazier. Like rate of angle. Like I would love to look at that system one day. Like did the D1 system record the entire run, or because you kept saying sector, right? So like did it only record bits and pieces, or the whole run?
So let's say like a normal, a D1 course traditionally has like one more transition than like a Formula Drift or like an American style course, right? Okay. So there's usually like 3 to 4 transitions in a D1 course. They would break each portion of the track into sectors, and it wouldn't be like turn 1 is sector 1, turn 2 is sector 2, because the thing would record the whole run. But the judge, right, the guy in charge of the whole thing would be like, sector 1 is the run up. This is the criteria that's important in the run up. And I really hope that we're able to do this. The criteria that's important in the run up is top speed, average speed, and initiation, right? Rate to angle. Then sector 2 would be like the first part of the first sweeper. What's important there is stability of angle. That's the number one thing. And then like average speed. Because what they don't want is for you to huck it in and slam on the brakes. So your average speed needs to stay up, but then your stability needs to stay up, because they don't want to see a big entry in sector 1, but then you're pulling out the angle in sector 2. Then sector 3 might all be about the fluidity, right? So like that the car's not wavering, because by then sector 3 is like the last part of turn 1. And by then you're cooking, you're on throttle. They don't want to see you dropping the throttle, pulling the handbrake. It's all about vehicle stability, no wavering. and then maybe the corner will tighten up, right? Because a lot of Japanese style courses decreasing radius. So at that decreasing radius point, that might be sector 4, and it might be from the apex to the next corner. And then that point is all about like the speed gain and how aggressive you can get your vehicle to accelerate. Because that was I don't know exactly what they called it, but it was like you have your top speed and your average speed, but also if you're able to speed up aggressively, that's good. Your points go up. But if you slow down aggressively, that's always going to be bad. So what they're looking for is a constant gain in speed and velocity throughout the course, which in turn encourages fast driving.
Gotcha.
I agree with that. I like the way they're doing all that. That was part of like why we pushed so hard to keep average speed in ours, right? Because like I always felt like losing speed as a judge criteria was a mistake, right? Like I always thought we should have had it, should still be there, even if it was still just shooting radar guns at the cars at certain corners, whatever it was. But when we lost it, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And so I pushed really hard to keep that in our series because like you don't want to see brake checking or big angle brake checking and slow drifting and everything else, right? Like nobody wants to watch that. Yeah. But like we weren't nearly as in depth as what Matt's describing, right? And like it was real simple. Just hit the zones, be at a decent angle, and drive fast. And that was it. That's all you had to do to get a good score at clutch kickers.
Interesting.
And that's why gaming the system was such a learning experience for me, because you have these amazing top level Japanese drivers that have almost only been driving on the DOS system. So they know, they will see the criteria in the driver's meeting and they know this is what I need to do in sector 1. This is what I need to do to get a high score in sector 2. Sector 3, forget about this and this. Let me focus on that because this is more valuable than those things. And you could see it, man. Every single sector, every single run will have a 8.8, 9.3, 17.8. Like it gives you the exact score for that. And what's crazy is within each sector, it says these are the criteria in that sector. Criteria 1, 2, 3, 4 for sector 1. Criteria 6, 7, 8, 9 for sector 2. It's wild.
So do you think it being broken down in sectors like that ever made for some really goofy runs that would have been hard to chase because people were trying to like hit certain points or criteria or any of that?
All right. So don't get one thing twisted, boys. I've been here touting the DOS system and D1 and saying it's the best thing ever, but it encourages absolutely screwy and dirty driving. Absolutely it does. But that was part of the game. Like that's how you play the game. If you could bait somebody into screwing up and achieve a good DOS score, you're just like double dicking them, double time. And that to me, it's not like the purest form of whoever's the best is going to win that day, which I feel very much Formula Drift has been doing a great job at. Traditionally, the driver who's driving for the best that weekend really does win or really does get on the podium. D1 definitely encourages like some scheming and a little bit of like quiet chatter on the radio of how you're going to change your initiation in order to throw the person off. And it was weird, but there was a lot of elements that I did enjoy about it. But by no means am I saying like it's the answer, because there's a lot of dirty, screwy driving.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's I remember you talked to me about that last time you came on, but it just so happened that you were the perfect person to talk to because you've dealt with this, and it's like it's such a. And my question was gonna be, okay, so is now FT gonna turn into? Oh, I don't know what happened, guys. I kicked them all out. I guess they'll come back in a second here. But what I was gonna ask is, oh, there they are.
Good thing when he doesn't drop off, the whole thing doesn't crash at least, right?
Yeah.
You guys are all back. I have to rearrange where you guys are in the thing whenever your screens come.
Wait, is it still live even though he's gone? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yep.
All right. Good question to ask, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dude. All right. So what I was gonna ask was, is this gonna turn FD into a almost like a video game where you're kind of not necessarily driving the course in a way that's most chaseable and more in the way of, like you said, playing the game? Is that
Kurtis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, we already are driving to what the judges say.
Right.
I am the type, maybe not all of us, right? But I show up, I go to the driver's meeting. They say, this is the course. I want you here. This is how you should transition. This is how you should do this. And I say, okay. And I go out and I do my absolute best. If they say something that is just absolutely wrong or off the wall, or they're not understanding a certain transition point or the dangers of it or something, I'll be the first to raise my hand and bring it up for sure. But generally speaking, the judges tell us where to drive and how they would score it the highest, and we just go out and try to drive to them anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I agree with that. I think if you're going there to win, right, like you'd be a fool to not do whatever the judges are telling you to do, right? Like the whole object of going is to win. And so whether it's a computer system or a real person telling you what they want, at least with the computer system, you get non-subjectiveness, right? Because you get that definitive, like, hey, I did this better than that guy and nobody can take it from me because here's the data to prove it, versus what I like to see as a judge while judging drifting and what Matt Field might like to see as a judge judging drifting could be two very different things. And that's, I think with the computer element, I don't think it'll ever be an amazing judge for tandem competition, but I think it is an incredible tool. But back to what you were saying, Nate, like, are we going to see this becoming like Forza drifting, manipulating points? Right?
I don't think so, dude.
If they use the system I think they're going to use, I don't think so.
I think we're both going to be, us drivers are going to be manipulating our driving to achieve the highest score. They are going to be manipulating the box to give the highest score to the sickest run. The sickest run is still going to be subjective. We have to remember, too, that box was built by a human. So the human put whoever built it, they put their brains and their opinion of what good drifting is, and in their opinion, what statistics that we need to say drifting was good or drifting was bad, and that was a human brain. So I think it's just all about dialing the needle up and dialing it down for things that you like and you don't like.
Well, it's adjustable too, right? Like you choose, like we chose our 3 parameters that we wanted it to judge on, right? And then we set it accordingly to judge how we wanted it to judge. And so it's going to be, who knows what categories Formula D is going to use it for, like how they're going to set it up, because it's ultimately their decision on how they want it.
Yep. And I hope that I have some opinion on it, like obviously coming from digital judging. And I hope that if they do end up using the Wally system, I hope that they talk to the European drivers and get their opinion on it, because I think that they've probably had it for 2 years at least now. So I think as long as we all go into this knowing that this is a learning experience, and also we have to realize, like, hey man, every once in a while, somebody's qualifying score is going to be a little bit screwy. You might have to run it again, or you might be relying on the judges to spit you out a score. Maybe I'm that guy. Maybe that guy's that guy, but that's just kind of how it is. But if it gives us what we want, which is qualifying back, we're all going to be happy that we won't mind when little things happen, I guess.
Well, anything's better than seating, right?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say,
hey, man,
give me the thoughts on seating and how.
Yeah.
You were never in seating. That's why.
Well, on my Fridays, I hung out and drank beer all day. It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that was fantastic.
No, actually, and I think, Nate, I hated downtime. I hated dead days. It throws me off my game. I show up ready to kill. I literally pull my car out of the trailer on setup day, ready to freaking win.
That's the most Matt Field statement I've ever heard.
All right, we're just gonna set up today, and then the next day I'm gonna do 12 runs if I'm lucky, probably 10, and those 10 runs are super important. But then I'm just gonna hang out and do nothing for a day or whatever. So I think I would way rather show up ready to go, be in the mindset that this is important, and then have it be an important 2 days and go home. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah, and I don't think you're right. I don't think I can talk to seating because I was never in it ever. Yeah.
So, good job, by the way. Congratulations for not ending up down there.
I mean, the thing is my issue with seating and how they did the points this year just wasn't fair in general. Like, it just the way they distribute points. There was definitely, it would benefit people that weren't. It hurt people that weren't in seating, and it was like, what are we doing here? So.
It was a great experiment, and I think it's very good for pro spec. Absolutely, I think that the right thing to do is keep it there for pro spec, and potentially even the rookies who got to experience seating for the last couple of years. Maybe they were definitely beneficiaries of that. But I think it served its purpose. We tried, and we're moving on. And I'm glad that we're not going back to something that we did before, which is one run qualifying, because that was terrible too.
Yeah.
You didn't like knockout qualifying?
So I came to learn to appreciate it, and I came to learn to throw down, but I was personally bit by it multiple times where something happens to the car, right? Or it's just weird things, right? I've been out where I was leading the championship, first car out on track. They just painted the boxes. They're rushing. Go, 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 go. I go to do my qualifying lap. I put a tire on the white line, and I freaking basically over rotate, come back in, and there's white paint all in my wheel well, everywhere in my wheel well, right? And I'm just like, Formula D, what do you guys want to do about this? But what can they do? Sorry, Matt.
I can tell you.
Take another shot. Like, no, they're not going to say that. They're going to be like, all right, well, you got to score, so you'll get a second chance if you got knocked out into the bottom 8, and if not, then. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. I'm leading the championship. I have an amazing qualifying run. Now I'm going to be in the bottom 8 battling another championship contender. I'm like, this could be my season right here because I put a tire on wet paint, and that's that. And I would rather this series be like, tough titties, Matt. At least you got a second run. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's true. Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing with that. In just my 2 cents is I'm a big fan of battles, right? And I like the idea of seeding, but the way that it just ended up executing, especially with the point distribution and everything like that, it made a bad taste in I think a lot of people's mouth, especially the drivers. And to see such it was basically 100% people wanted to get rid of seating in Seattle, and it was such an apparent thing. I mean, talking to any driver, it was like even the top level drivers didn't like it. I mean, you watch James Dean at the end of winning the championship, the dude literally who benefited the most from the system, because, and here was my problem with it, is it guaranteed him into a 32 battle. Like, he didn't have to qualify. He didn't have to try. For example, you, Matt, you didn't have to try either the first day. Like you said, you just came in and drank beer, and you were already in a 32 battle. And it's like, granted, with the driver count last year, that wasn't really going to be a big question either way, no matter what way we did it, because we rarely had over 32 drivers. But ideally, in my hopes, I hope we have more than 32 drivers this year, based on, because in
how many are on that list? That they gave that
40.
list out at SEMA time, right?
40. It's 40 drivers. I know.
Oh, wow.
I was told there are 3 other drivers that weren't on that list that could possibly come in, but I also know some of the drivers on that list are not driving. So they're
35 then, 38.
Yeah, hopefully. So here's another debate, and my issue with qualifying, the way that it's been done in FD. In my opinion, FD doesn't have enough drivers to make qualifying interesting. That's why Drift Masters is so good with qualifying, because you have 50 plus drivers in 32 spots. How nervous were you in Poland, bud?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because I bended in the wall on my first qualifying run too. Yeah. And you know what? That feeling of nerves, I was like, oh, it feels so good. It feels so good for it to be back, you know?
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I think too.
Yeah.
When you have true run qualifying, qualifying becomes exciting. Okay. And you have good drivers, right? Yep. So I agree. When you have 50 plus drivers, people are on the bubble, qualifying 32nd, somebody's so excited. You qualify 32nd at FD, you're like, God, like you're pissed, right? Because there's 33 drivers or something like that, right? It's nothing to be proud of. So first of all, just to qualify, you are proud of it. It's awesome. And then with 2 run qualifying, you actually get to see 2 high level runs because somebody can go out and lay it on the wall their first lap and have an amazing first run, or screw up and then still come back and have amazing second run, or do 2 mediocre runs. But it's like, there's some strategy to it. And I'm a true believer. Like, you throw it down a first run, you watch qualifying, you see who, where, why, and what got the high scores. you come up with a strategy and you go and you blow the freaking minds of people and get people excited. We saw some of the sickest, craziest runs at 2-run qualifying. Like, can you imagine thinking back to 2-run qualifying at Irwindale? Those runs were absolutely bonkers, and it was actually exciting to watch those runs. So I think if they bring that back and qualifying is tighter and there's more drivers, it's only going to make everything more exciting.
100%.
Yeah.
And
I always thought qualifying was good. I always thought it was exciting. Yeah. I never understood like why so much hate for it, because you got to see like each driver's individuality, their style, how they drive in the freedom of it, right?
You want to know?
And then we got rid of it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
You want to know why the hate was there? Is because FD would take 5 minutes to judge each call. And so
it did take forever.
Yeah. And that was the kicker, and it's always been FD's kicker, in my opinion, is the run of show. I mean, you look at a Drift Masters, you are qualifying 50-plus drivers. They don't have time with issues with run of show. You know, I get they don't have 2 series running, but even when, like, in general, like, when it's just a pro day or pro only event and it's only 2 days, like, I assume Sage's argument was still going to be it's going to take too long. So with Drift Masters, they qualify 50. I think it was like 55 drivers or so at some of the rounds crazy. Where it's like 2-run qualifying, but they're able to knock it out so fast because the run is so good.
Do you know what their overall like time slot is for it? Like, do you have a statistic on it? Like, hey, they did 50 drivers 2-run qualifying in 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours.
I don't have the numbers on it. It just from what I've seen.
And also, they came prepared. At that meeting in Seattle, there were numbers, and I think maybe even Jeff Jones had Drift Masters did this run with this many people. Like, he had the numbers, and they were they were even less than our seating time.
Holy,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and like I went to Mondello, like it was just crazy watching the difference. And as you know, in Poland, like there is a schedule, and they do not leave it. Like you have to be on at a certain time. If you're late, bye. You know, it's like
I mean that's how they treat the track, how they treat the track, how they treat this time slot. Like people's time is definitely valuable, and like you don't do just like cone chasing pickup and it takes 5 minutes between runs or anything like that. Like there's definitely a run of show, but I think that they probably because qualifying is going to take X amount of time no matter what, so we have to squeeze that in, and we have to give these guys this much practice. And also, I think we're at a place where the level of drifting is insane. So single run laps are insane. And also the average person watching on live stream and the average person watching the event, at this point, they understand what drifting is. So they can see, hey, that was a sick run. Right. I think if we go back 6 or 7 years, maybe some of the fans were less educated, less involved. By now, all of those same fans are still watching drifting. They're just 7 years more experienced. So there's no reason why people won't be excited on one run qualifying.
100%.
Well, and I think the other thing that's really going to be a benefit this year too, in that regard, sort of right, is like one of the biggest issues, in my opinion, with qualifying back in the day was the first handful of cars out. And I've done this as a judge myself, right? The first handful of cars that go out for their first runs, even if they put the most killer run that you've seen that weekend on, right, you can't score that run at the top, because what if somebody comes out and throws out a run that you now think is better, and you already scored that guy crazy high, but you have to score this guy above him, and it kind of like stacks like that, right? But with a computer, it's going to be the same for everybody. Straight out of the gate. Like, you're going to get the same score. First car, last car. And that's
also why we're going to be able to see these finite numbers, right? It's okay that guy right out of the gate got a 95, because guess what? In the grand scheme of things, when qualifying's over, 17th place got a 95, right? And that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Interesting. So you think the scores will be higher when it's machine based? Just curious.
I think they'll be more consistent right off the bat.
Yeah. So here's one thing about qualifying too, and this has always been an argument from the drivers to the judges. You guys tell us we're the best drivers in the world. You tell everyone in the whole world that we're the best drivers in the world, and yet half of our field is getting a score of 70, 74, 76, right? We look like idiots. Definitely. Yes, the top guy got a 92, 95. We think that's a high score. But realistically, the top guy should be getting a 99.
Yeah.
And then down from there, right? So I really enjoyed the D1 where the scores were all like the low score was 97.2. And then the high score was 99.8, 99.87, right? Like these numbers
Decimal
are all
points.
high. Yes, but it looked great when you're like, hey, the top 16 was all 97 and up. That means you're like, damn, this competition's crazy. These drivers are absolutely phenomenal. These drivers are close. They're nitpicking these things, and we really are. But a nitpick with a human eye could be 3 points, and that's crazy to think, right?
Yeah.
3
Of
points.
course.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because
I think it just sounds better for our sport.
Yeah.
We're just like, we're the best of the best. The scores should all be super high. Even the guy in last place should be well in the 90s. And you know what?
Right.
If you can't do a 90-point run, you shouldn't be in battle. That means that your run is damn near unchaseable if you can't do a 90-point run. And I know if you say 90-point run thinking for what traditional judging is, you're like, oh, well, that's crazy to say, Matt. But if you start to think that the whole field is covered only by 7 or 8 points, now that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like that with Drift Masters this year when like you needed to be in the mid 80s to qualify a 32, you know?
Right. Yeah. If you weren't in the 90s, you were definitely in the bottom half of the bracket. Definitely.
Yeah. And that's still mostly that's all human stuff still, but it's like it's definitely you make a good point on making the series I guess look in a way better as well with the scores and stuff. What are there scenarios that you've seen that kind of what would make it difficult to judge? So like how does it handle walls? I mean, obviously it's just like an outer zone, but like, okay, so what if you tap the wall but it doesn't mess you up? Or what if you like are driving a Mustang that has a 2-foot amount of like 2 feet worth of space where you can just destroy the back end of the car and it's not going to affect anything? You know, it's like, well, how is that, you know, kind of figured out when it comes to those kind of systems?
So what Wally does is you can watch the video of the 3D image of the car and you could see where that car is positioned. And if you're driving a GT86, your little cartoon is a GT86. If you're driving an A90 Supra, your little cartoon's an A90 Supra. So they have scanned the cars or measured the cars or whatever it is. It's a designated point on the car on the roof that the box has to go.
Yep.
The box knows what car it's on. When the box knows what car it's on, it knows that the Mustang is a completely different sized vehicle than a GT86. So you can see where the bumper is in comparison to the wall when you're watching this.
Gotcha.
So I like in Poland, the judges are way over here and they're giving line scores across the stadium. And there's not a camera looking straight down that can tell them exactly the distance between the bumper and the wall, right? So how are they giving line scores way back there? They're using the Wally to say his bumper was on the wall, his tire was in the box. The tire in the box means you get at least minimum this. The bumper on the wall, the distance gives you a score from this to this. Boom, you're able to get your line score. So I think, again, we don't know what system Formula Drift is using, but I would hope that it's at least that sophisticated.
Yeah. 100%. And even so here's my other thing too. So how would you judge, let's say you're in a fast car, like so obviously in the field you guys are generally similar speeds, but there are definitely faster cars than others. So let's say you're in a faster car but are able to slow down in sections, but then say a slower car comes through the section, doesn't slow down as much, but you guys get the same average speed. Is there a way to distinguish that, or is that it's just how it is?
I guess it depends on if the system allows you to put weights on average speed versus top speed versus like sector speed
and like decel and stuff.
Right. And then the severity of the deceleration. Right. We really don't know. On the DOS box, what I was kind of just saying before.
Yeah.
top speed was like just for this section, then average speed was
Gotcha.
for this section.
Mhm.
So I would hope that we have the ability to dial in something like that. And
Mhm.
we also have to remember this, right? This is still drifting. This is still very subjective. The only reason why any of us think that that run looks cooler than that run is because something that we have in our brain. So
Yeah.
we need to make sure that there's a way for us to get whatever's out of our brain into the computer and make sure that what I think looks fucking sick, that thing looks fucking sick.
Right. Yeah. No, you gotta keep reminding yourself that too, because you're right.
Yeah.
As much as a numbers game that you can try and make drifting, as much as you can put a clock like you do in road racing to something and try to quantify it, there are you can't technically quantify all of drifting, because there are going to be things that you like more than others, and that's going to be for everyone, and that is the biggest
style,
challenge.
right?
Yeah.
Kurtis, did you guys have some sort of style points or style built into it? No. Yeah.
Nope, took it out because it just everyone wanted less subjective stuff, right? And so it was like, all right, well, we'll make it all based on data, basically, right? And so that was the route that we went. I don't like style.
I don't like that. I don't hate that. You know, both
like,
things though. But I also like style. Okay, you say you don't like style as a category, but I watch driving and I'm like, that was sick. And traditionally, the sick driving is the more stylish driving, where there's more throttle, less handbrake, snappier transitions.
How did you feel? Remember the X Factor days?
Yeah, they just brought up in chat. I was like, what? So what, I'm going to bring it up.
How did you what was your, because like, I feel like if you're going to give just like points based off of like, let's say like all of us are judges, right? And so we all get, let's say, I don't know, 5 points that we can give away at any given time as like a bonus to a driver, because we're like, that shit was sick, right? I feel like that's how it should. I mean, you can call it style if you want to, but I always thought the X Factor was kind of comical, but also like, yeah, man, he did a killer thing and he got awarded a bonus point for it. What was your take on it?
All right, this is the thing. I was generally above middle almost always for my style points, right? Mm-hmm. You have some drivers who would always skew above average, and you have guys who would always skew below average, 1 to 2. Like, let's say it's 5. There's a lot of 1 and 2 guys, right? There's very few 4 and 5 guys. I was always like a 3 or a 4, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm not mad about it because I'm getting my 3 or my 4, but I'll definitely watch a run. And the guy who is getting a 4 or 5, I'm like, okay, maybe he did something a little bit more risky than me, and that was sick. Sure, they do deserve it. I don't necessarily think that that's the right way to hand out those points, but I truly believe part of drifting needs to be, does that shit tickle your balls and get you excited?
Right.
There needs to be something about that. I don't know what it means to quantify it, 1.5 point X Factor style. I don't know, but I do know that I like watching sick, exciting drifting. The reason why I drive the way that I drive is because I'm aware there's a big difference between how a slug drives and how a top G drives, and I want to drive like the top G. So I don't know what that means, Formula D, but we want to make sure that this shit stays exciting.
Exactly. No, it's cool. And Brandon, this will be your first time like dealing with this kind of stuff, right? When it comes, I mean, I guess
I've never.
Obviously, in VDC, are you guys judged by humans or
human stuff? Yeah.
Interesting. That's the funny thing, is like I would think you guys would be the first people to do.
No.
But they also probably have a million different camera angles, right? It's unlimited. Yep. You're literally in the digital space. You can say, does he get full line points? Let me look at his rear bumper. Fucking,
it's
right?
True, yeah. Like you could literally have a drone cam above like your car, like 90 degrees, seeing everything. So
right.
Gotcha.
But Wally brings that to the table.
Yeah.
Because you can do that with every run. You can get on top of it, 3D, spin it around, do whatever, see where it was on track.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, dude. So the Wally guy showed me. He's just like, hey, man, those were killer runs out there. Like my battles with Connor in Poland. And he was like, yeah, I watched him back. You want to see? And this is like, we're already at the after party drinking. And he shows me on his phone. And I'm like, holy crap, this is incredible. Like that. I'm watching my run and I'm like, that was exactly what happened. Like I bashed him right there. He slowed down right there. I did this right here. I swiped him on transition there. Like I saw the exact run, and coming from my eyeballs and then watching it on screen, I was like, that was exactly 100% what it was. It was very cool.
When you get all the data with it too, right? So like if that dude slowed down 1 mile per hour, you'll know it.
Yep.
Which is a blessing and a curse. But
yeah.
From an organizational standpoint, it's a curse. From a driver standpoint, it's a blessing.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask next. Is do you think FD would make any of this stuff public, or probably not?
They should. Yeah. Will they? Who knows? But like, it should be. I don't know about fully public or not, right? But like, at the very least, it should be distributed. Like, all the teams should have access to it, right? At any given time.
Old homie who dropped the document, he'll just be posting it on whatever Facebook group anyway.
It'll get leaked everywhere. All the controversial, like, Wally data, no matter what, will get leaked.
He'll be there. Yeah, it doesn't matter anyways.
But yeah, I mean, like,
you know what's cool?
It would be cool to be in the live stream. Like, you see it, like, when the judges are going over the run, and you can just literally watch it in the corner. Like,
we did that on a couple
Formula
of
One has all of the stuff that's going on. I know that we were pushing telemetry forever and ever and ever. Mm-hmm. This might be an additional bonus to when the cars are driving back to the line. You get to watch the Wally run. You get to watch this replay. I think it could be entertaining and interactive. And again, we don't want to hide anything from the fans. There's no point. They should know what we know. Everything.
Yeah. No, I mean,
even whether or not they will.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's tough too, right? You don't want to put all your cards out there and you don't even trust what your own cards, you don't even trust the deck yet, right? So I get it. Yeah. No. Maybe next year.
No, it's true though. It's cool. It's such a cool idea with drifting because like we were talking about, it is not a sport that you can generally overall judge by numbers. And so trying to make a subjective thing not subjective is an interesting challenge in and of itself. A couple of people in the chat have been talking and bringing up all kinds of stuff. Were there any good questions that you saw, Brandon, that you want to bring up? I know there's questions about the C8. I'm just gonna assume and burst people's bubble.
Is he breaking the C8?
Yeah. It's a show car. I mean, quick. How hard is it to get a kit for that car?
So I don't know. Anybody who follows me knows that I brought the C8 to Grid Life Laguna. Yeah. Laguna Seca is my home track. I was so excited. I love this Grid Life, partying, having a good time, driving cars. It's just the best. Literally, I think my first or second set of tires on the C8. I go out and I come in, and then I'm going to swap passengers. And I ask my crew chief, Alec, I'm like, how are the tires? And he's like, they're pretty much dead. You should change them. And I was like, I'll be all right. And I went out. And he's like, okay, idiot. And I went out, and at the top of the corkscrew, that thing turned into a motorcycle tire. It exploded. It just, I could tell when the tires are falling off, and I'll be like, all right, don't chunk and flap the quarter panel and everything. This thing went from all right, it's fine, to straight up turned into a motorcycle, D-lam, tread went flying, blew out the rear bumper. And I was like, I don't know, 3 weeks out or something like that from SEMA. So fortunately, Liberty Walk partnered with me on this build, but I reached out to them. I'm like, please tell me you have a rear bumper. They're like, definitely not. I think kind of what Liberty Walk does is they design it, they make 5 or 10 of them, and then that's it. They move on to the next thing. Yeah. So they had to make me this rear bumper. Wow. And I was stressing. They got it done. They handled business. But even though they gave me that bumper, to get it shipped in time on an airplane, customs, blah, 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 blah. And shout out to Russell from Buy Now Japan, because he has the absolute best price on shipping stuff, but it's still incredibly expensive to get anything for that car. But to be fair, I did that to myself. I'm not going to say that that's the reason why I'm not going to be using the car, but I'm really hoping that a couple of things turn into the plan that I want it to. So as you guys can tell, Logitech is one of my larger partners. Yep. I have a sim set up in my office sitting right over there. I have the microphone, the headphones, everything from them. And this is my second year going to be partnered with them. So we were with them last year, this year. they talked to me and they were like, Matt, what do you want to do? Like, what's a cool project that you want to do? We want to do something awesome with you. Obviously, like trying to integrate some sim and some of our products, but we want to do something cool with you. Then, of course, I'm like, man, I've always looked up to Ken and all the Gymkhana stuff, and being from the Bay Area, like shutting down San Francisco or a Bay Area city and involving tech, because something that's huge and big to me, Logitech is their headquarters is based in San Jose. That's where I've been born and raised. Yep. So that was awesome to be able to go to their office and have lunch with them in the city that I grew up in. And I was like, hey, how about this? How about we pitch a big video with the C8? It would be going overseas, full like video game style, immersive video where I'm playing sim here in the San Jose office. I snap my fingers, I click my heels together like Dorothy, and then bam, we're in this video game world driving the C8. And it's, you know, the Lexi Mount 360 POV cam, full POV, like video game gauges, the whole thing. And they were like, this is exactly what we want to do. So if things, I can't say any more than that, right? But if things line up like I hope they will, the C8 will be overseas at the start of the Formula Drift season. So that decision gets kind of made for me, because there's no way that if I pitch them, hey, let's do that with the demo car, they're going to be like, that's great. Let's spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to send a stock C6 to some road or something like that, right? They want the C8. So it makes the most sense to do it. I mean, part of me, guys, is a little bit relieved, but it gives me good reason to do an awesome project with that car instead of just throwing it into competition. And it's going to get destroyed. That's just what happens.
Yeah, it's going to get destroyed. And Kurtis and I kind of had this conversation, what was it, last episode? I'm of the belief of no matter how much practice you really get in a new chassis, you are always going to have a new chassis challenge when it comes to FD for at least the first year. I mean, I have yet to see someone come in with a new chassis and be, you know, top of the box. I mean, it took Dean a year on the Mustang. Kurtis and I were talking about Odie for this year.
I'm going to get my $50. I still have faith in that bet, dude.
What's your $50? What's your $50 on?
Odie has to finish in the top 5 at Long Beach. In the new
car. In the new car, and you win 50, or you lose 50.
I win 50. Nate bet it against Odie. I bet for Odie.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a good battle. I think he's. I mean, the thing with Long Beach is I think you can get away probably with that car, so I think there's a good chance there. The thing with new cars though is there's always something. You know, I just feel like there's always something you're figuring out. There's always something that you haven't tested, or it's a prototype, and I'm sure Odie's going to do everything he can to keep everything that he's used in the past onto this car. Like, I'm sure it's going to be the same engine package, and a lot of those components are going to be the same. But I mean, it just seems like whenever there's a new chassis, there's always something. You know, I mean, how many years did it take for you to get the C6 to where you wanted it?
Dude, I mean, I'm still developing, right? Still to this day. Like last off season was a really busy off season. I was tinkering with rear suspension. I probably had 12 test days on my race car before showing up to Long Beach.
Wow.
Like last 2025, the beginning of 2025. That's crazy, right? That's absolutely absurd.
That's a lot of test days.
Why would you do that? Right. But I was just tinkering, dude. Tinkering. I think Odie building a GT86. GT86 is one of those chassis that's absolutely proven. You can call your homeboy and be like, what did you like about this? What did you not like about that? WiseFab makes an awesome thing for this. Hey, what are your settings on that? You know, the answers are out there. That's a little bit different with when we took on the challenge of the C6, and it's extremely different with the challenge of the C8. So I also, you know what sucks? I'm a firm believer, like, there's nothing better for dialing a car in than going to the track with you and your crew chief, no cameras, nobody, no practice partner, just you and your crew chief, and you tinker. You do 12 tires and you tinker. There's nothing better than that. And I haven't gotten that day in the C8 yet. But it's because every time you pull that thing out of the trailer, it's this like big extravagant experience, and there's cameras strapped to everything, and you're in the middle of an interview, and I got a POV cam shoved onto my face, and this guy's got to do this, and this guy's got to do this, and this guy wants a ride, and I'm like, all right, well, there goes the day, right? So if I had that day under my belt, maybe I would be feeling a little bit differently. But I think what's most important to me is I reached out to my key players, my key partners, David Borla, Mike from GT Radio, and the boys over at Heatwave. And they all kind of said, like, Matt, if you want to go after a championship and you want to use the C6 and that's what's important to you, then we have your back. That's what's important to us. So I kind of asked Logitech the same question, and that's what led to this big project. So I think I couldn't be in a better situation. I'm extremely grateful for the partners that I have, especially considering like they know we have this weapon of a C8, but they're encouraging me to go out and try to win the championship in the C6.
Absolutely. Speaking of Corvettes, I'm actually kind of curious your opinion on TLO's car and how that did over the year.
Yeah, dude, he is an amazing driver, and that car just looked a little wound up. But I think that he's also a bit of a wound up guy. Being your first year in pro, you got a lot to prove. The car is sick as hell. It's definitely the fastest car he's ever driven. I tend to think after watching his car and Joao's car that the C7 maybe is a little bit of a quicker chassis than the C6.
Yeah.
But then everything has its downsides, right? I think he drove that car amazing. I think that the guys who built that car built a top level proper motorsports car, and his driving is getting better and better every round. I mean, dude, the guy's a weapon for sure.
Yeah, I mean the rookies did pretty well last year, and it's cool to see some of the new guys come in and really, cause some problems. Dude,
absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like you said, like FD is the thing. So here's kind of my point with this year, or at least in 2025, we had a lower driver count, but all of the drivers there were rippers, and it was like it was such a competitive series. I felt every like the battles, there was so many close battles this year when it came to all the pretty much every point of competition compared to I feel like there were some times in the previous years where we had more drivers, and there were some battles where you didn't probably have to put a lot of grip in the car to really, as long as you did your run, you were good to go. But now I don't think you can do that anymore in FD.
Dude, it's so funny. In years past, you're right. You'd be like, all right, pump the tires up 5 pounds, do this, do that. Now it's like, nah. And it's also been different too. And maybe this is a benefit of seeding. Everyone's car comes out of the trailer ready to battle. Everyone's putting the battle setup on their car. There is no loose qualifying setup. You're not sure what setup is this guy on, am I on, whatever. So that was one good thing about the seating. But dude, everyone's car is fast. So if you are taking grip out, you're going up 2 pounds of air. That's it. Just to be safe, but nothing more than that. It's kind of crazy.
100%. And I'm curious as well, when last year was kind of an up and down year for you, like obviously your number one goal is the championship, but kind of how would you kind of grade last year? I mean,
what's crazy is my driving was better than it ever was. Obviously we've been in the championship fight, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years, something like that, and we're always right there. But I'll watch battles from 3 years ago and be like, I won, but I'm not super pumped on my driving. Like that transition wasn't that good, or my rate to angle wasn't very good. And my leads have always been pretty good, but I was never super pumped on my chase runs. I think last year was the first year that I'll watch battles and I'll be like, yes, you laid it on the line. You took risks. You were doing risky shit and doing it correctly. It wasn't risky shit and plowing into somebody and losing the battle or anything like that. Overall, I'm very happy with my driving. But dude, everyone else probably will say the same thing. Like, they drove so good. The series was so competitive last year that even though I do feel like I took a step up and I elevated my driving, everyone else did as well. And it was tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a, like I said, we were talking about earlier, the competitiveness in the series is just at that level at this point. And
it's crazy.
I guess my opinion, who is a guy this year or that kind of surprised you that you've seen improve? Like, there's a bunch of drivers that we've seen, come into the series, whether it's Manoa, who's like really come on strong. You've watched Adam LZ literally come from a guy that was like, okay, he's here because he's a YouTuber, to now he's like a serious threat for the championship. You know, like who's the guy that you've kind of watched, you know, now that I would consider you a veteran now, in the sport. Yeah. Like who are some of these guys that you kind of seen come up that you've been impressed by?
Dude, I think Adam is the one who impresses me the most. We have a lot of similarities in partners. We've drive together fairly often on these other type of events. When we line up in practice, there's only one thought between both of our minds. It's like fists up, guns out, all or nothing. There is no games. There is no I'm on a loose setup. That guy pulls his car out of the trailer ready to fucking kill somebody. I have the exact same outlook on it. I think he's one of those, but he also has the skills to back it up. His car's fast. He grips the crap out of it. He wheels the crap out of it. And generally speaking, that guy can win some battles. So you better be on your A game when you go to battle him. And I think he's maybe one of the few people who has a similar outlook on like where you the values that you hold yourself to, the level of driving that you hold yourself to, I think is very similar with me and Adam. Yeah. And dude, he's a serious contender. So I think every year he impresses me more and more and more. And he's just a badass driver.
Yeah. That, you know, it's one of those things where I feel like he's made a lot of people eat their words, you know, over
well, who gives a shit? Who the fuck cares about those people and their words? The guy, like, who cares about any of that? The dude can rip, and he can build a decent freaking car that can hold together to the abuse, and he can wheel that son of a bitch. That's badass. Dude, that thing is sick, and it's fast, and honestly, that's because I drove his car out. That's the best JZ that I've ever driven. Usually I drive those things. I was like, this is stupid. Why would you drive this in competition? Gross. And then I drove his, and I was like, yeah, thing's sick.
It's like a simple car too, right? Like it's still front radiator, and like he checked all the boxes with it. Didn't overcomplicate it. Built a car that works and just shreds in it.
Yeah, dog box. Doesn't have too much data in it. Front radiator, like not super heavy, not super light. It's still on a 295, so that's the weight is in the right place. It's good. It's a good car. The engine is snappy and responsive, and it like most JZ guys will be like, oh, my shit makes 1,000, and then you drive it, and I'm like, this thing feels like 650, dude. But okay, sure. I drove that car, and I was like, yep, this is 1,100 wheel. Sure enough, damn right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I do have one memory that I want to bring back on you from this year, so I just got to bring it up on the screen. Yes. So you remember this. So
yeah.
Tell me about this experience, because I can't imagine it was a very fun one.
All right. So to be fair, this event, I was shredding. I was in my hearts of heart on my way to win this son of a bitch. No doubt in my mind.
Yep.
Then I ran into Dylan, and I was like, oh shit, this guy thinks the same thing. I could tell. You could see it in his face. Like this guy was ready to freaking go. So all right, this could potentially be the hardest battle of the weekend. Definitely. Let's go in and give it our all. I did a pretty good because this is a one more time battle, right? I did pretty good on the first battle, but I definitely wasn't pushing 11 tenths, right? I was a 9.5 out of 10. And I left a little bit on the table, and maybe I did like a fucking squeaked a tire in the dirt. Like I did a little freaking poof in the dirt, and oh God, he dropped it. So I was like, all right, I got it one more time. This is good, but I have some more in the tank. Yeah. So I was leading first because I just came off Seattle. Yep. And with that, I was like, all right, don't have any hesitation at zone 2 at that transition. So like flick, handbrake, pickup. Because maybe on the last run, I hesitated just a little bit. And that's what I had a little bit of washback and maybe dropped a tire. And then the judges were very scrutinizing that very heavily. So that time I was like, all right, full momentum, full balls, carry the freaking speed. So when I hucked it in there and I got it right, I was like, ooh, this is a freaking heater. We are good. And I'm just on the throttle, and he bashes me, and I'm like, all right, I mean, fair game. He's trying to win too. He bashes me, and then I kind of just wiggle and stay in it, foots to the floor. bashes me again, and I'm like, all right, bro, like, come on. Not mad about him, but I'm you're gonna screw this run up for the both of us, you know?
Right.
And when he did that second bash, he dumped my car to angle a little bit more and was starting to like push me off track. So immediately, of course, my speed drops, even though I'm on the throttle.
Right.
The speed drops because I'm at such a bigger angle than I want to be going through that corner.
Right.
And when I saw his car climb up, the only thought in my head, because immediately I'm like, okay, I won. But I'm like, fuck, this is going to screw me up for the finals. God damn it. Because that was 4, right?
Yeah.
James was already in the final. We were the last battle of 4. And I was just like, God damn it, dude. This is my finals. And I know I can beat James. I know it. I know it. And I'm like, my car is fucked. And like, we're not even going to be able to make it to the finals. And then what's crazy is I got out and Dylan and I looked at it. We looked at his car and looked at my car. And we're like, holy shit. These things are all right. Like, I don't know how this thing is okay, but I'm like, Kevin, get the crane, lift this shit up. I'm going to back out. I'm going to go back to the pits and start working on my car. And then everyone's like, what the there's no way. And like the tires on my windshield and my window brace, because it's a Lexan window, is all baconed, and he's sitting on my dash. But I'm like, the electronics are good.
Right.
This is good. Like there was some oil lines that got damaged. But other than that, I was like, how in the hell is this thing still? I thought my supercharger was ripped off. I thought he landed on the supercharger and ripped it off. But dude, it just, these cars are technically they're closer to open wheel cars than they are full frame or full body cars, because our fenders are all carbon fiber, carbon Kevlar. They dent with the one finger. So the fenders aren't stopping you from climbing wheel to wheel. So I think it's kind of crazy that it took this long for us to see some climbage like this. But all in all, I guess it wasn't the worst weekend. The biggest thing, and I was right, because it definitely affected my ability to drive at my absolute best in the finals. When he crawled up, he broke a fitting off of the valve cover, and we just didn't have the time with everything else that was going on to also fix that. And you guys got to remember, we're at Utah, right? So the truck and trailer is like freaking 10 miles away from us. We'd already been back and forth to get stuff, and there was just no time. So basically I got the AN fitting, and I was like, okay, sorry. Hammered that thing back into the valve cover, tied a rag on it. When he landed on my oil tank, on the dry sump oil tank, and dented it and kind of like cracked it around the fitting. So we tied a rag around that too, ripped all the panels off and went out. And on my lead run, it was not too bad, but oil was spraying on my right front tire. So the whole track was cool other than the last corner. I had a big washout on the last corner, and I think that's because I put some distance on James. That allowed him to really have a strong finish. And then he bashed me coming across the finish line and pushed me off into the dirt. And I could tell that the judges maybe didn't see that he bashed me off. And I was like, I'm trying to tell my spotter. And they're like, the judges said, shut the fuck up and get back to the line. Like, we got to go. And then at that point, I'm like, okay. We've already been crashed for an hour and a half. Time's running out. There's no lights. Utah's has a strict cutoff time. I know we're already past it, because at that point too, like him bashing me off, I should have got 5 to look at my car because my rear toe probably was screwed up, whatever. But I'm like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, let's go into the final battle. Let's have a good time. I could still win this thing. And then transitioning into that final corner behind him, the rag got oil soaked and oil was spraying on my windshield. Like, I have the video of it. It coated my whole windshield with oil. I couldn't see anything. Spraying oil on my right front tire, so I have no idea where I'm at. But I stayed in it, and we finished strong. But I think the two things was, like, I didn't have that great of a finish chase because of the oil. And I'm going to assume that the judges thought I flew off in the last corner, crossing the finish line on my own. So they gave it to James. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that if I had a car that was 100%, we could have definitely had I'm not going to say I was going to win, but it would have been a lot harder for him. So the only thought that went through my head when Dylan jumped on me was just like, God damn it, that's my chance in the finals.
No, and it was if I remember correctly, since James made it to the finals, it kind of it solidified his championship results, I believe. So at least it wasn't that. But yeah,
I think he won it like the battle before or
right,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like when he won his 4 battle or some. What? Yes, he was already the champion by then, and
yeah.
I was feeling great that weekend too. But I mean, Dylan, thank you for bashing me in the best way possible. That there was very little damage to both of our cars. Oh, you want to know the best part of the whole thing? Because obviously my car was destroyed, right? Like all the front end, all the carbon Kevlar inner fenders, everything, like thousands of dollars worth of damage. He was like, afterwards, he's like, "Fuck, I just built this titanium exhaust and it's all kinked and destroyed and everything." And I was like, "Good, thank God, Dylan. Damn, at least you get some damage, son of a bitch."
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of how, at this point drifting is. I feel like I still remember Andy Haley, his comment of when he first came to pro. He's like, "Yeah, now everyone just hits your car. It's like if you're not
it's full contact.
Yeah, like if you're not perfect in your lead, you're going to get hit, and that's just how it is,
Yep.
And even if you are perfect, you still could get hit, as you just said, So it's like
it's a full contact sport, man, and that's part of it.
Yeah, and we'll get comments about, oh, why does all these cars, why are they all the same chassis and stuff, and I would argue that drifting is still the most diverse motorsport when it comes to top end motorsports of any other motorsport in the world, and I don't even think it's close. But the reason you see a lot of people run similar stuff is because you have to replace it so often.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are beating the crap out of these cars, and it's there's only so much a part can do, if you're just going to keep running into each other. But
yeah, but that's the beauty with working with awesome companies like, for me, Part Shop Max. When we took on the build of the C6, I was not going to do that without somebody who was going to be able to manufacture suspension parts for me. There's no way that I would have the capacity to build out my spares package, develop and build the cars and the arms and the knuckles and everything that are on the car, and then continue to build spares throughout the year. So I think a lot of us probably build cars that companies like Part Shop Max or parts like WiseFab or FDF make parts for, companies that make parts like that for cars, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. AKA your one-off body kit on the C8,
Yeah, and then exactly, and then it brings us to the C8, which is one off of everything.
yeah, the engine, all that kind of stuff. Still one of the coolest drift builds I think I've ever seen. So still, congrats on that.
Thank you. And I really enjoy driving it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
How does it drive? Right? Like rear engine and all that kind of stuff? Is it like an old MR2 or like, how does it feel?
It's an old MR2. There's a slight difference in horsepower between those two. But.
Yeah,
but I'm just
saying,
saying, like,
4 feet of
engine
wheelbase.
configuration, right?
It's 4 foot of wheelbase different, probably. I've always had this theory, right? Like a well set up drift car drives like a well set up drift car. Then, like that's the big thing. Under that, each car does have its own nuances, but it's not like you drive a well set up drift car and you're like, this drives like a Formula One car, or I drive a NASCAR feels more like this than it does a drift car, right? Like it still feels like a drift car. Absolutely. But the nuances that it has over, and we'll say like a baseline chassis, like an S13, in my opinion, or a BMW, right?
Yep.
Those cars kind of just do what we all know that they do because we've all driven them for so long. So they don't do anything necessarily like funny or strange, right? But then you might bring in a GT86 and then it likes handbrake more or less or something, or like the C6 Corvette where you really need to be on throttle through transition, or you rubber band and you flick to too much angle, right? With the C8, what I notice is it has so much forward straight line grip. When you leave the line, I will blow the doors off of any drift car in a drag race with that car. Guaranteed, blow the doors off the thing. It's so fast in a straight line. But what that also means is, we go straight when we're drifting, right? As we're passing through a transition. Yeah. So I feel that moment, like this feels like a drift car. Then as I get closer to center, this has an insane amount of forward bite. Then it starts feeling like a drift car again. So it's definitely weird where most, like an S13, it has the same grip sideways at this much angle, at straight at this much angle, right? Like the bell curve that it has of angle is very linear. as it goes through transition.
Right.
The C8, the grip level changes, and you can drastically feel that change. So what that means as a driver, what I feel is that sometimes I won't get the transition to land in the place that I want it to land. So it doesn't mean like, oh, it's mid-engine, it's just transition, see ya, you're gone in the weeds. But it means, hey, maybe I wanted to transition to this much angle, but it went a little far. Or I wanted to transition to shallow angle, but what it really did was went a little not enough angle, and now I'm hooking up and kind of pushing the front end. So I kind of haven't found that area where it's a smooth, predictable transition. Everything else, pretty good, normal drift car. One thing to remember about this is it does have a C6 knuckle. It has a C6 steering rack. So it has the same alignment settings that my C6 has. It is 2 inches longer in wheelbase, which I definitely think kind of helps counteract the weird mid-engine things. It's long. It's 107 inches wheelbase. That's big.
Wow. Yeah.
Whereas C6 is 105. Yep. And the car is big and the car is wide. It's also like, I don't know, 6 inches wider in the front and the back than a C6 is. So I'm like, all right, it's like just a bigger car, but the wheelbase and everything makes sense. But there is definitely some nuances that I want to work out. But overall, like you can clutch kick the thing, get it sideways, huck a 90-degree transition. It does similar stuff on the handbrake. But again, like what the handbrake does and where you use it is all these like under these little nuance things, right? Some cars back up on the handbrake. Some cars stay in the middle. Some cars go forward, right? Like this car tends to handbrake and stay a little bit where it is instead of slide backwards like a BMW does. And, you know, an S13 might track backwards just the predictable amount, but a C6 maybe moves forward a little bit. So it's all these tiny nuances.
100%. Yeah. It's cool though.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, that was literally exactly what I was curious about. You know, that was it.
Yep. What is cool is it has true 65 degrees of steering angle, which is the more steering angle than I've had in any car. But because everything is built in CAD, right? We have the chassis in CAD, we have the body in CAD, the steering rack, everything is in CAD. Chris from Part Shop Max, he's like, how much angle like do you need? And I was like, it'd be great to have 65 so we can limit it, but that's like more than enough, right? So he built it like my tire, scanned everything to clear at 65 degrees of steering angle. And we are fortunate that the Liberty Walk kit is so wide that it definitely like allows you to have that much angle, long arms. But I've never driven a car with that much angle. If you look at the bump stops on my C6, you can see they've just been hammered, right? You look at the lock stops on the C8, they've been like touched once because like 65 degrees of angle with mid-engine, I will throw it as hard as I can. As soon as it gets to 90 degrees, it's just like, okay, we're coming on back. It's so weird. Yeah.
That's cool.
So weird.
You got any good questions in the chat there, Brandon, that you've seen? I'm just curious.
What we got, Brandon?
Let's take a look.
Yeah. I did see one question about Juju.
Yeah, what we got? Slay J Dub. Yo, Matt, when is Juju coming to Pro Spec?
Is that
So
is something he wants to do? Yeah.
Yeah,
I approached Julian. It's probably been like 5 years now, and I was like, "Hey, potentially, if I could put a package together in that car, would you be interested?" He was like, "I'm not really into it, you know." And since then, like Evan Bogovic took the car and drove it. We did some rental stuff with it, and then since then, I put him back in the car for demos and activations, and just keeping that car alive and that kind of stuff. And we've talked about it, and he was like, I know I probably missed my opportunity, but I don't think that my heart would fully be in it. He's like, I love drifting, but I don't love competing. Like me, I love drifting and I love competing. Right. So he's like, I feel like I would almost be doing a disservice to you and the team if I'm not showing up like I'm gonna win this son of a bitch. And I'm like, you're right. I wouldn't even want you to show up if you don't think that you can win every single battle and win the championship at the end of the year. Like that is definitely would be the goal. And honestly, I think his business is doing good. If he does FD, it almost kind of takes away of what makes him great and what makes him him, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah. Phil Silva, another Corvette driver, he asked, will you be taking on another Pro Spec driver for 26?
So it is funny. I owe a call to a prospect driver back because it is looking pretty good. It was. I get approached a lot by a lot of different drivers, and they kind of all ask the same thing and want the same thing and offer the same thing. And this was the first time that I was offered something completely different that adds value to my program as well as theirs. So it's looking really good. I'm hoping to make the commitment. I probably should have already made the decision by now. So I'm sure you're watching, and I pretty much have. I'm just doing the last final chit chats with my managers and going to get over the contract and whatnot. But it's looking good. I'm excited about it for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. It adds to your program, you know.
Right. Because everyone
cool
needs
to
the same
hear.
thing. I need transport. I want to know what gear to put in my car. And can you watch some in-car video and tell me what I'm doing wrong? And I'm like, absolutely, I can. But this guy was like, but wait, I will sweeten the deal. And I was like, dude, that's hard to do because my deal's pretty sweet already.
That's cool. Heck yeah. I did see there was, you know, some other things. Obviously, we had the C8 stuff. Jelani, I saw you in there. He wants to get on the Odie bet, and we'll talk about it. I get it.
He brought up a good point. You know, Odie already did it once in a new chassis.
That's true. I was talking technically more this season, but we'll go with the first round. It's fine. Good to see Heat Wave in here. Good to see you. A Glizzy sponsor.
Got my Heat Wave Nixon. You guys see this? Did anybody buy these or on the giveaway?
There you go.
It's pretty freaking sick. Shout out Heat Wave.
All set up. Yeah. I did see Phil was also like bring wings back to FD. But
dude, I'm a big wing guy. Absolutely. Yeah. I would 100% have a GT wing on my C6 if we didn't have to take it off for this round and this round and this round and everything. I mean, I totally understand the safety side of it, and especially with how ridiculous we are driving lately. Like somebody would absolutely get hurt. So I get it, but I do miss them. That's why the C8 has a giant wing.
You know, speaking of tracks you can't run wings at, welcome to Circle Track season.
Dude, seriously.
Like, you know, you got any initial thoughts? I mean, obviously nobody's driven these tracks, or I mean, maybe some people have driven the bull ring, but like, or no, isn't that where? Yeah, bull ring was where it was.
Yeah. I've driven the bull ring. What a piece of crap that place is. Man.
They're repaving it supposedly. It'll be fine.
They have to repave the entire infield for that to work. So I hope that they know that. As long as they do that, place is going to be sick. But that's mandatory.
Is it the transitions off the bank that you weren't thrilled about? Because that's what it looked pretty rough on video.
That is rough, yes. But the problem is, because I used to do the discount tire demo there during SEMA and the week after SEMA for Falcon Tire. So we'd come out and drive the Falcon cars all day, give 300 ride-alongs. But the problem is you would set up the track on the infield to avoid the potholes and make the transitions nice and everything. And halfway through the day, a giant hole would develop right where your line is, and you'd have to move the track. And I said this, and then sure enough, when Jeff had his competition there, he had to do the same thing for, I think it was like coming off the bank. The drivers were digging a hole in the pavement, so they had to like, hey, that's not an outer zone anymore. It's an inner clip, like midway through competition or qualifying or whatever it was, right? So the place is just falling apart. The actual banking pavement is pretty good, but just everything on the infield was incredibly rough and it was just chunking away. So they're gonna have to repave that whole infield, do up some bleachers, fix the bathrooms a little bit, but it'll be awesome. I mean, Vegas is cool as hell. So
heck yeah, 100%.
I also just don't know what to think about the other venues. I'm always the kind of person who just shows up, and even if the track is flip-flopped backwards and upside down, I don't care at all. Zero care. Tell me where the zones are. Tell me where the clips are. That's where I'll be. End 100%. Of story. So I'm going to go into every single round thinking the same way. It doesn't matter. It might change midway through practice. It might change midway through qualifying. Doesn't matter. Tell me where to go. I'll be there.
I like it. Phil also asked, how much time have you put in trying to fit a big plug in your car? But kind of an overarching question of like, what did you think of Adam's whole big block saga so far? It's very interesting,
dude. So I don't know like every single thing that went on with it, but I do know that Adam's overall excited about it and pumped on it. Just like anything,
I
it's
mean,
going to
I don't know
have
if
its
you heard
quirks,
Chelsea's message after he drove it recently. He's like, anyone
Yeah.
in FD not driving with this engine is like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, okay, so that's a pretty good review.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, I'm a pushrod V8 guy. Like I get it. It's not like I've never driven a big block or I've never seen a big block. I'm there with you. My point of view is I'm very well invested in my LS program, my
Right, yeah,
spares
obviously.
package, and the
Yeah,
suit.
yeah.
I have a great partner with Vortec and all of that. So it's hard for me to get away from that. And I would guess that the power delivery is fairly similar. My car all in on nitrous to that. Very, very similar torque numbers and all of that. The only downside would be just the intricacies of the supercharger bracket and belts and all of those things, right? But dude, my dad has been building big blocks for all the boat buddies for the last couple of years now, and I'm always looking at it like I want one of those things so bad. Those are all steel block stuff and lower compression, but I was so pumped when I saw that Adam was.
Oh,
No.
it wasn't me this
Oh
time.
no.
He'll come back. Hopefully.
Oh, man.
Hopefully he wants to come back.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
I
You're
was
good.
I was so pumped and so excited to see that Adam was doing it, and I was just like constantly texting him like, "Did you get the fired up? What did it make on the dyno? How does it feel with this? Like, do you leave in second gear? Like, all of the things." So I couldn't be happier. What I really want to do is put a big block in the C8. I love the engine that Samir at Grom Racing and I developed for the C8. I think it sounds great. The power delivery is great. Everything about it checks all the boxes.
Right.
I'm an LS guy. It was going to be an LS. The only thing is that it's just very exotic, very expensive, and it's like riding a two-stroke dirt bike. It's very, very peaky. Wants to flash to limiter. So I'm excited about that, and I've already reached out to CAD Chris from Part Shop Max and been like, "Hey, I have a big block scan. We obviously have the scan of the whole C8, everything, subframes, all of that." I'm like, I know it fits. Like, let's talk about it. So it's on our radar, and I think it's something that I absolutely want to do. I want to do it in the C6, but I'm also like, hey, do I invest a ton of money on developing one plus spares on potentially a chassis that I might be phasing out over the next year or two? So I don't know yet. I think I'm at a good place with everything, but I'm absolutely jealous of a big block for sure.
Nah. What I like is its variety, like I would love to see like a Barra and an FD and maybe,
everything.
Just give me some options on some cool stuff, give me some different style Coyotes, like I love the fact that in FD we can run. We're not stuck to a certain number of cylinders. We're not stuck to a certain power adder. You're not even stuck to like a certain horsepower number. Like you can go a light car, low horsepower route if you really want to. Now it may be hard in some places, but I love that you can do what you want in this sport. Within your means, obviously. But no, I'm hoping someday we see some of that. I do know there is possibly one of those engines coming next year to FD. So
nice.
I do know that possibly could be a thing. So
hint. The guy posted his shit for sale yesterday on his story. So if you guys are looking, go try to watch some driver stories yesterday.
No, but it's cool. Like I'm excited for just something a little different, and we even had what was the engine in the Prospect guy's car? The NASCAR engine, wasn't it? Or
NASCAR engine.
Yeah,
Jerry's car, right?
Jerry's, yeah. That was a fun one to kind of.
He's building a vet, right?
Yeah, I
Pretty
apparently.
sure. I mean, he's kind of hinting at it.
Yeah,
he posted driving one home. He posted end of an era, everything. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Could know a couple things about that, and it's gonna be. I'm excited. I'm so pumped for him, dude.
It's gonna be such a cool car.
And for him, I'm gonna let him talk about it because I'm pumped
Yeah,
for it, so
exactly.
yeah.
So quick story with that.
Yeah.
I know he loves Corvettes, right? I know that.
Yeah.
And I met him over last year. And then when we were in Utah, I was just driving my race car around the pits, checking the clutch, feeling the brakes, just doing the normal thing, just putting through the pits. And he was working on his car. And I pulled up and I was like, "Hey, you want to drive this thing?" And he was like, "Hell yeah." And he ran out and hopped in. He just putted around the pits and everything. But it was awesome to see how excited he was. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, no, he's a cool guy, cool cat.
For sure.
No pun intended there. With
yeah, cat guy for sure.
But FD needs more personalities like that, and I think he's a guy that has kind of taken a persona and embraced it and has done well, and like that is a challenge in and of itself for a lot of guys, to come out of their shell and really create a brand. I mean, obviously Kurtis, all about Drift Wizard. It's like he was able to finance a season off of that, so it's like
it has, dude. You got to have a niche, like a goofy thing.
Yeah, so it's Matt is the guy that's going to come and basically kill you, is what it sounds like. So it's like
that sounds a bit aggressive, but
yeah, well,
he's Matt is just high energy all the time. Is what it is, right? Like if you've ever been in the hot pit and seen Matt, you know he's high energy constantly. I don't know how, but constantly. The whole time.
We're ready to go, dude.
Yeah, you better not drive slow is what it is, or he'll let you know,
Yeah, and I don't know. I think I wake up and I'm excited to be there and appreciative of everything that I get to do every single day at every single moment. So I definitely try to live life to its fullest, regardless of what I'm doing. And when I'm doing the thing that I absolutely love, dude, that gets me pumped the hell up, and I enjoy every single moment of it.
100%. Yeah. Well, we are getting close to that 2-hour mark, but I did want to say a huge thank you for coming on. And, this is it's always nerve-wracking for people when they, come on live, but as long as you keep it normal and like they kind of forget about that fact.
I don't feel nerve-wracked about that at all. I love it. I should have brought up the chat so I could see the shit talking and talk back. We'll see.
They're calling you a villain right now, but
good. Let's watch.
But
let's clap back, boys.
Yeah. But with the program and everything, and like obviously your goal this year is going to be championship. Like that is what you are trying to do. And is there anything that you're hoping to do this year that maybe you're changing, trying to help a little bit? Obviously you don't want to give away secrets.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, you changed something.
Oh no.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Let me reload.
All right.
Oh no.
I wonder if his headphones died. That could be the thing,
Could be.
All right, you can hear everybody again?
Yeah.
We could hear you the whole time. You just couldn't hear us.
Dude, I opened up YouTube to